Hey everybody, Eric in the garden. I apologize for the wind today. It's windy, but man, it is warm. We're in the mid-70s here down by the coast. You can see the majority of the pruning is done. Any of the taller bushes that you see that still have leaves on it, I probably won't prune those down too much more. Maybe briefly touching up that alena. Other than that, nothing else is all that tall. So you can see this bed is completely done. This bed is completely done. And then some of the other ones that are smaller, I'm just not going to touch those because they're not big enough to prune. I don't want to cut them back too much. What I want to quickly do is talk a little bit about compost, but the reason why I'm digging into my compost pile, I'm planting some stuff in the fall. Not roses this time, but we're going to do some azaleas. These are Encore azaleas. I've been driving around here in the eastern North Carolina area, and I kept noticing what looked to be like azaleas in bloom. The leaves look like azaleas, the flowers look like azaleas, but I've always been taught that those are just spring bloomers, so I was kind of confused. But finally, I looked up on YouTube ever blooming or multiple blooming azalea bushes, and that came up, these Encores. I'm going to give them a test. Supposedly they bloom spring, summer, and fall. I've seen them across our area, so I'm going to give them a test. That will go nicely with the Dublin Bay. So hopefully next summer, most of this will be covered with Dublin Bay. Then I'll have a couple of these Encore azaleas, and I'll move that firewood around to the back. But the purpose of this video is to talk a little bit about compost. Do you have a compost pile? Do you put out, what do you do with your yard waste? Here, anything that's from the rose garden I tend to just throw away because if it has disease on it, I don't want to really be recycling those. But anything else, from weeds to lawn clippings to any type of vegetation, I just kind of throw against my shed. And I don't do a good job turning it or keeping it moist or doing anything that you're supposed to. I just kind of set it and forget it. And now you can see I've got some nice oak leaves in there. But I was just kind of curious. I just dug it down in here a little bit. You can see the pumpkin and some mandarin oranges my kids didn't eat. So any fruit, not food scraps, fruit scraps from our house I'll throw in there. But I dug down in here a little bit, and I noticed that some of it is turning to soil, so that's certainly good news. And this includes that when I dig up the sod from the lawn, it has soil in it. So I did add a little bit of soil to it in terms of the root ball or root base of the grass. So below this mess, you can see that we are getting some compost, and we'll see if it works out this time. But what I noticed, I'll try to get it on camera here, is when I pulled this back, a lot of worms were in here. Here you can see some right there. So we had a lot of different worms in here that were moving about, and that really got me excited because those are very, very good for the garden. So whether I add this to the rose bed or any type of planting beds, and I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see the different types of bugs that are moving around in here. So very active compost pile. We don't tend to have a lot of worms, if at all. I can't count one worm in all of the excavating I was doing for the lawn in terms of removing the sod and then planting the roses. I added some worm castings before in the hopes of getting some, but just look at this. This compost bed is alive. You can see the worm there pretty clear. So again, I've dug out 6-7 rose beds. They're 10-15 feet long, 10-15 feet wide. I mean, these are gigantic beds, and not finding any worms, but they're all in my compost pile. So again, it looks like kind of chaotic, and I don't turn it, I don't keep it moist. And if you're wondering what I'm referring to, just YouTube what you should be doing. If you turn this, it would break down quicker, but I've got 3 younger kids and a family. I just don't have time to be fooling with it. So hopefully this is a little encouragement for you. Every time you cut your grass, you're not using herbicides or any chemicals. Just start piling it up in a corner of the yard that you're not interested in. And again, anytime you dig up sod, so I do have some soil in here in the form of sand, anything that was left in the roots itself, and just kind of pile it up. So eventually I'll transfer that once it's finished over to the rose bed. I have gotten some municipal compost. Check out one of my videos from earlier this summer. So that's a little quicker in terms I can just fill it up in my van right away. But you're of course paying for that, and you're paying for other people's plants that have broken down. So sometimes you can get some weeds that way. So I'll leave you with this beautiful sky. You can see that a lot of the trees down here have finally lost their leaves. Not this oak tree here, but just a gorgeous day, mid-70s here in eastern North Carolina. It'll be 50 for a high tomorrow. So I'm outside doing some gardening while I can, and I'll check back. The goal with a fall planting is I shouldn't have to do much maintenance to this Encore azalea. Keep it watered if we have a dry period, but even though the air temperature is warm, the ground soil is still warm enough that the roots should grow through the winter. So it should be well established by the spring, and then I won't have to water anymore. Have a great day, everybody, and comment below, do you compost? If you do, what do you put in it? And are you getting some benefit out of it? Love to hear those comments below.